If you love loose, expressive watercolour but find it a bit stressful trying to keep the definition in your subject, this is a technique you're going to love. It's a line and wash technique which is forgiving and flexible, and it can be adapted to suit your own preferences. With both the structure of line available to you and the playful watercolour washes, it really is the best of both worlds. Let's do this little autumn tree project in our sketchbooks together, and I'll show you how to make it work for you. I'm starting with a few little light pencil marks in my watercolour sketchbook, just to put the tree in the right position. I won't be able to erase this pen, so the pencil gives me a little bit more confidence. And let's talk a little bit more about that pen, because you can actually use just about anything. When I say just about anything, there's probably a test you want to do first. I've chosen a black pen, and what I want it to be is waterproof. Something like a fountain pen is lovely to draw with, but very often they come with water-soluble ink. So a little test like this is well worth it. Otherwise, you're going to have a slightly different result from what you expected. The pen I'm using is the Platinum Desk Jet Carbon Fountain Pen. So it does happen to have waterproof ink, and I'm using it to just make little marks that are helping me to suggest the light, airy shape of the leaves. So I definitely don't have to draw every single leaf. I'm still just following my usual loose, expressive approach and thinking of the large shapes of the clumps of leaves on the tree. And I can use these tiny little marks to kind of hint at the flexible shapes of these little tiny leaves and leave little gaps. So it's not a solid line drawing like a colouring book. The pen gives me the chance to make whatever choices I want and use expressive lines to describe my subject as well. I don't have to do a perfect drawing because I'm also going to get to use watercolour paint to tell some of the story. And this is what I mean about it being a really flexible approach, because depending on what you prefer, you can lean into one aspect more than the other. So if you're very comfortable drawing and you love your pen, you might choose to do a very detailed drawing. But if the drawing side makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you can take your time with the pen and just put in a few marks to give yourself the structure that you need, so that you don't have to rely on effectively the drawing marks that you make with your brush when it comes to the watercolor stage. You don't have to do so much careful work there to make sure that you're conveying the sense of the subject, because some of that work is being done by the line. So as I say, you pick how much you want to use of each. I've got a photo reference of a tree to help guide my marks here, because while a tree is something I see every day of my life and I'm very familiar with them, that is a very different thing from being able to actually draw a tree. And this is the wonderful thing about doing any sort of drawing, is that it makes you not just see the trees, but actually really look at them and observe all their lovely little details. And every time you do this, you find something different, something special about it that you probably didn't notice beforehand. But also remember that you don't have to capture exactly what you see in the photo. The reference is simply there to help you. I've got a separate video about that. I'll pop a link in the description and in the cards. But the idea is just that the reference photo gives you some help. It's a starting point. So I can put my branches in slightly different places, but looking at the photo is helping me get the right quality of the lines, helping me notice that the branches get narrower towards the tip and are wider closer to the trunk of the tree. And I can also vary the marks that I'm making. So I can use tiny little marks, I can use hatching, I can use flicky grass shapes. Now that I've added the pen to my painting process, I've got a whole different way of making marks that I can add to my little painting here. I'm enjoying that for doing things like adding a little bit of texture to the bark on the trunk, and it's also a good way to remind myself which way I've got the light coming, because I've put in little lines to suggest the shadow and put less marks on the side that I want to be the light side. And that's going to be very helpful when it comes time to get out the paint. I would always leave it just a minute or two just to make sure the paint's definitely dry before I go ahead and put on the watercolour. And this is also the point at which you can decide whether you want to erase any of your earlier pencil marks. I find that this line and wash technique really makes painting so relaxing, because by the time you get to the stage when you're happy enough with your drawing and it's time to get out the paint, you can already see your subject. Now it's just the case of playing with a bit of colour. So I don't have to worry too much. But I can still use all the things I already know about watercolour, like let's start with the lightest colours. So I'm going to go with this bright yellow green, which I'm going to put down as a bit of a suggestion of the grass under the trees. And I've put a bit of water into the areas where the leaves are going to be, and I'll drop some of this yellow colour in there as well. And this is where it's time to be thinking a little bit about where the light is coming from, because to give your subject the suggestion that it's got a three-dimensional form, the best thing you can do is have a good light source. So I've decided the sun is coming from the sort of right-hand side, so the tops of those clumps and the right-hand sections I'm going to put my lightest colours in, and that's going to be my light yellow. And some of these trees, I rather like it when they've still got a little bit of green in them, where the leaves haven't all turned. So I've got a bright green. I'm going to dot a little bit of that into the grass section and put a little bit in the trees. And the thing I've been dying to do is to paint with these beautiful warm colours. This is translucent orange, and it's one of my favourites. It's always very exciting to put a splash of that in. And here is where I'm happy for the paint to just decide how the blends should be. This is why I paint in watercolour. I love watching this happen on the page. So I'm just kind of putting little shapes that I'm hoping are slightly different each time I put the brush down. I'm trying to put it down in a different way, so I'm making a slightly different shape. And I want to add some more colours. What about something even warmer? I think this is rose madder. Let's do a bit of that. And I can't resist a little bit of splatter. I always find it gives such energy to the page. It's always great fun in a sketchbook. And I love it when the splashes land in the slightly damp parts, like on the grass. It's particularly useful in something like this, because one of the things about the autumn leaves is obviously the way they fall. So I do want little speckles of orange on the grass underneath as well. I'm really not worried about trying to stay within the lines. I know the lines will stand up on their own, and I don't want it to look like a colouring book, so I'm very happy when there's a mismatch between the line and the wash. But one of the things I do want to pay a lot of attention to is those darks. So I've just chosen a violet colour, and I'm adding little bits of that, a bit more sparingly. And I know the violets look so lovely with the orange. They're some of my favourite combinations in my particular palette. I'm painting the trunk while the leaf section is still damp, so there's every chance that the brown from the trunk is going to whoosh up into the leaf section. But again, this is exactly the sort of thing that matters so much less when you've already got the line structure underpinning your whole drawing. And I don't want to just use one colour in the trunk. I want to use that same violet that I put into the leaf section. I'm going to put that down the side of the trunk and continue it so that that shadow continues all the way down the left-hand side of the trunk and sweeps out across the grass, reminding us what a lovely, bright, sunny day it is. Well, that was so quick and fun. I want to do another one. I've chosen a similar photo so that my two little pages in my spread match up. And this one has actually got a little road in the front. And I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is start with the paint. Typically, I'd always start with the line drawing, but it really doesn't matter. This is kind of the point I'm making about you can make line and wash work for you. And I've started by putting in little pencil lines just to show me where my colour washes are going to go. And I'll pop in all the paint in light loose washes and add pen once it's dry. If you try and add the pen when the paint is still wet, you'll damage both your pen and the paper. So you definitely do want to make sure it is completely dry. But it does mean that even my first page that I did, I could go back now and add a few more little pen details if I wanted to. So, and that's the way I typically do it. I would normally start with my pen and then do the watercolor. And then once it's dry, I can come back and add a few finishing touches. But doing it this way with the wash first is also rather fun. It's a bit like those reverse coloring books. I don't know if you've ever seen those. It's very relaxing to be putting little pen marks into your beautiful little watercolor washes that watercolor makes all by itself. But I don't like feeling like I'm filling in a colouring book or drawing a reverse colouring book. I prefer to think of line and wash as something of a trellis for my watercolour, because I think of the watercolour washes like one of those beautiful wild climbing roses. You know, they're this tangled, glorious mass of colour. But it really is so much better if it's got a little trellis, a little firm structure underneath it. And that's what I think the line does for our watercolour washes. So it's definitely my preferred way to do it. But of course, like any of these watercolour techniques, the thing to do is have a bit of a play with it and find the way that works best for you. I do have a playlist of other line and wash projects, so if you're enjoying this technique and you want to try some more, that's the thing to watch next. I'll pop it up on the screen and in the description. Happy painting!